Good afternoon. Welcome to Cross the Ditch NC. My name is Laura and I'm so glad you're here today. Today we're going to talk about harvesting and preserving sunflower seeds. Just like this big guy right here. Alright, so sunflowers are absolutely beautiful to watch grow, and it is amazing how tall that they can grow. There are several varieties of sunflowers out there. I love to grow a different variety, both for cutting and making bouquets out of to put on my kitchen table and to give to other people, but also I like to grow sunflowers to preserve the seeds. When you preserve the seeds, you can roast them and eat them, but also you can save the seeds for the following season and replant them to have a new crop of sunflowers. When you go to harvest sunflowers, you want to wait until the head of the sunflower begins to droop and the yellow petals have, let me move the leaf out of the way, the yellow petals have dried up. And when you go to harvest the sunflower, you just want to cut the head off, leaving quite a bit of stem so you can hang it up. I usually use garden shears for this, but mine have disappeared. So I'm just going to use some scissors to cut the stem. And there you go. So I'm going to finish harvesting my sunflowers, and then I'll show you how to hang them to dry, and then how to harvest the seeds once the sunflower has finished drying out. Alright, so when harvesting your sunflower seeds, you need to, or when you're preparing your sunflowers to harvest the seeds, they need to finish drying out. So you're going to want to hang them up in a dry area with a little bit of airflow to allow them to finish drying out. But before you do that, you want to take the leaves and strip them off because you don't need the leaves anymore. That way you have a bare stem and you have your sunflower to finish hanging and drying. Now, you can let your sunflower head dry on the stem. However, there are a few risks involving that. One, a windstorm comes through, knocks them down, like what happened to this one, and it ends up on the ground. And the problem with it ending up on the ground is animals can get to it, like squirrels and birds. Also, the longer you leave them on the plant itself to dry out, you have an increased chance of squirrels and birds to get to it. So the sunflower that was just above this one on the plant before it got knocked over was being eaten by birds, and I'm assuming squirrels, because there are a ton of sunflower seed remnants on the back of this head. So I'm going to finish breaking the leaves off of the other sunflowers, and then I'll show you how to string them together and hang them up. Alright, once you have gotten all of the leaves off of your stem, you want to go to the head of the sunflower and pull off all of the dried petals off the side of it. And then you want to go into the middle of the sunflower. Beneath the actual flowers, these are little tiny flowers on the head. Oops. On the head, I got bugs attacking me. On the head of the sunflower, these are the tiny little sunflowers. So we want to get those off and expose the seed. So you just take your hand and just rub gently over the head of the sunflower, knocking all of those, getting it all over me, knocking all of those little flowers out of there. Exposing the sunflower seeds. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, once you have scraped all of the petals off of the head of the sunflower, then you are going to string your sunflowers together so you can hang them up to finish drying. So we do this just by taking some twine and looping it around the sunflower and giving it a good tie. just like so. Tie your first flower up, and then you're going to come behind it and you're going to kind of alternate how you tie the rest of them up so they're not laying on top of each other, just so they're kind of offset a little bit. And when you have sunflowers that are pretty large like these, you're only going to want to tie about 3 together because it's going to be really heavy hanging up. So as you can see, I have 3 of my sunflowers tied together. I have pretty tight knots tied onto them. And now I'm going to go hang these up. All right, so when you're preparing to hang your sunflowers up to dry, you want to choose an area that is dry, that is sheltered from the weather outside, and that has a little bit of airflow. So if you have like a barn or a carport or a garage, that is an ideal place to hang it. For me, I'm going to choose to hang mine inside. As long as you have it in a sheltered area to protect it from rain, you should be good to go. You just want to keep the moisture off of the sunflowers while they're drying. Alright, so once you've hung all of your sunflowers up to dry, it's going to take a couple of weeks for them to finish drying out. And once they are completely dry, the green petals that were on the edge of the sunflower are going to be brown, and then your seeds should be easily removed. So I have a dried sunflower that I hung up a few weeks ago, and I'm just going to gently rake out the seeds. The same method that I use to remove the little flowers across the sunflower, just kind of scraping or raking my fingers across them, I'm going to do the same thing just to remove these sunflower seeds. In all honesty, they'll fall out if you just kind of hit them against something, but I'm trying to get them all in this cup the best I can. And there you have it, fresh sunflower seeds. So what I like to do after I've harvested my sunflower seeds is to place them on a paper towel on a plate and put them in just a cool place in my kitchen. That way, if there's any moisture whatsoever left on the sunflower seeds, they can finish drying out, and that way when I store them over the winter time, they will not mold or there will not be any type of moisture issue. So once I do that, the sunflower seeds that I'm going to save for us to roast during the winter time, I will just put them in a mason jar and still store them in a cool, dry place, such as the cabinet that I keep all of my spices in. And the seeds that I'm going to save and plant for plant during next spring, I will put those in like a little Ziploc bag, and I will label the bag as to what type of sunflower it was, and then once again I'll store it in a cool, dry place with the rest of my seeds, and I will save them and have them to plant next spring. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you decide to save your own sunflower seeds for roasting or for planting next year, give me a shout out. Let me know how it worked out for you. Once again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great day. Please come back and see me again.